Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our, at least my first TIBCO Scribe partner session, partner webinar. This is Lou Antonucci. I know that over the years I've interacted with many of you that are on the call today, so I'd certainly like to once again say thank you to all of our partners who are joining us for this session for your partnership and continued partnership in our new venture as TIBCO Scribe. Today's session is going to cover two topics, what is being referred to as our due diligence process, as well as I want to chat a little bit about some new reseller terms and conditions. And before I do that, there are some legal confidentiality things I need to put forth. Remind everybody the following information is confidential, and any duplication or transmission or republication for any purpose without the prior written consent of TIBCO is expressly prohibited. And I'll bring up this slide, which if you'd like to read through it, I'll give you 30 seconds to read through it. But since we're not talking specifically about products today, the first two paragraphs aren't necessarily that relevant. The last paragraph, I will during the presentation mention our upcoming user conference, TIBCO Now. So since that is an event, anything I say in relation to that, really you need to understand that if there are any expectations set, that things could change. So due diligence, it's a word that we've all heard over the years in various forms and for various function. So we're going to talk about what we refer to here now at TIBCO as partner due diligence, and talk a little bit about what it is, why we do it, and why we're asking you to get involved with us on that. So our agenda for today, we'll talk about partner due diligence, what it is, why we do it, the types of questions we ask. So I'll give you a little primer on the types of questions that you would be asked, and then what the process is around accomplishing this. We'll also talk about new partner contracts. We now have a new fiscal year with TIBCO, and our new fiscal year actually ends in November. So November 30th will be our end of year now for TIBCO Scribe. And our beginning of the new year starts obviously on December 1st. I'll talk a little bit about some new terms and conditions and what that means to our partners and our existing partner program for 2019. Then at the end, of course, we'll have our Q&A. So, partner due diligence. What is it? All right. What it really is, it's a background check for it's a background check that is done for every new partner or every new supplier with TIBCO. So as we sign on new partners and new suppliers, they are asked to go through a due diligence process, which involves a questionnaire, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. Not only is this, a process that's done when a partner comes on board, but it's also an annual recheck that we will now do every year for our existing partners to make sure that they're remaining compliant, not only with our TIBCO standards, but any national or international standards that we feel need to be adhered to, for both of our companies' benefits. This is it's a system-driven process here at TIBCO, and it's really in place so that we can confirm that not only TIBCO, but the companies that we work with, comply with their local, mandatory local, national, and international, compliance guidelines, regulations, and so on. For example, GDPR can be a good example of a type of not only national but international set of regulations that we have already today customers that we deal with asking us, to show that we're compliant if we need to be, as well as possibly resellers or entities we're working with in Europe are. And we do conduct this due diligence process now with all of our resellers, our consulting partners, our OEMs, and our suppliers. So all of our partnerships, and certainly primarily today we're talking to our group of reseller partners and OEMs and consulting partners, we will be going through this process with each of you. Now, why do we do it? I alluded to that a little bit, but as a global business, we are required to ensure the integrity of our partners and our suppliers. And as I mentioned, today even we get in contract situations, we get involved with end users. They are asking us to feed through different requirements that they're looking at that our partner that might be servicing them should follow. And obviously, if we don't properly vet our partners or our suppliers, there are a lot of different acts and regulations in different parts of the world that we could really be in violation of. And one, for example, is the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act here in the U.S. And that really goes to the accounting side, and bribery is really a big issue in some countries. And so, not going to mention any particular countries, but we've seen evidence of that in a number of different news stories over the years. So that's a good example of one of the reasons why we go through this process. Another reason is we want to ensure that we don't have conflicts of interest between us and our partners that are working with us. Now, I know everybody's thinking, oh my gosh, what type of questions do they ask in this questionnaire? What type of information am I going to have to put forth? First thing we ask for is just legal company name, years incorporated, the type of business. And when we talk about the legal company name, a lot of companies have a trade name that differs from the legal name. So we ask pretty much what's the legal name, what's the trade name, something as simple as that. Years of incorporation, I think we provide ranges. How long has the company been incorporated? Less than a year, 1 to 3 years, and so on. We also ask things about, do you have a tax ID number? Do you have a VAT number? And in terms of type of business, is it a public business? Is it private? Is it a joint venture? Is it state-owned? Because, if the company happens to be state-owned, that obviously pulls in a lot of other types of regulations that may have to be adhered to. We ask about banking details. Now, this goes more to, is the bank in a foreign country, right? Where is it located? I think the one question we do ask about revenues is what, in the most recent fiscal year, what were the total revenues of the company? And if you're a private company, we pretty much ask for, can you upload the current 10K for the company? So not a very, very detailed, investigation, but just kind of those basic types of questions around the company and the banking. Also, has the company worked with TIBCO before and been terminated for any reason? Do you sell to resellers as well as end users? And do you operate in various countries, more than just say one where your corporate office might be located? So those are the types of questions you get there. We do ask some employee information, and that goes more to, are particular employees tied to any particular associations? Are there family members of the employees that work for TIBCO? Again, just mostly being concerned, are there any real conflicts of interest? Then also there's a government connection declaration part of it, which asks about Do you sell or market to government entities? Are you part of any government entities? Are there any government officials that actually are contracted by your company? So again, general higher level questions, but questions that, want to ensure that we don't have any conflicts of interest. And then we do ask about compliance to and what might be your code of conduct as a company, and have you been investigated by any particular regulators in your state or federal government or country government? Not a lot of questions overall in the questionnaire itself. We do have an anti-corruption policy declaration as part of the questionnaire that we ask you to sign off on. It's really a small paragraph in the questionnaire. So when we talk about the types of questions, those are the types of questions that we ask in this due diligence process. Now, obviously, there may have been some of the things that I just mentioned that you may be saying to yourself, well, I'm not sure I can really provide that information, or I don't want to provide that information. And if, for example, you choose not to do the due diligence questionnaire, then it's the policy of TIBCO that, in essence, we can't engage in a partner contract or conduct business with that partner until we have the due diligence questionnaire and report completed. Now, if there are issues, or if you do the questionnaire and it's rejected for some reason, we on the field teams can escalate that to our legal management. We'll discuss any issues, and we'll do our very best to work through any issues that may have caused the questionnaire to be rejected. Now, if you don't want to answer particular questions, okay, we may, some of the questions that I mentioned here may be something that, per your company standards and your confidentiality norms, that is something that you typically do not divulge. Then you can put not applicable or not answerable, N/A, means both things, I guess, in that particular question. The only issue there is the way the questionnaire is set up is that each particular response has a very specific risk rating to it. And so what happens when the questionnaire gets evaluated, there's a total risk rating that comes out the back end. And that risk rating determines whether or not the report gets rejected. So again, you do have the opportunity to not answer particular questions. You can certainly work with your Scribe AE or partner account manager. If when going through the questionnaire you have a real concern, have a discussion. And again, we'll work with you. We've had, at TIBCO, there have been hundreds of partners that have gone through this process already. And as a matter of fact, there have already been some of you that are probably on the call today that have already received a due diligence questionnaire because we've actually accelerated the process even before we've gotten to the point of doing this informational session. So what is this process? Okay, it's a pretty simple 4-step process. Our team, our AEs and our partner account managers provide to our global licensing team or our global legal team, it's referred to as GLS, okay? We provide them with the partner contact information, all right? Then what happens is that team, through this automated process, will reach out to the partner to complete this questionnaire. Once the questionnaire is completed, it's routed back to the field sales team for approval, and then it's routed to the GLS team for final approval. This process can take anywhere, quite honestly, from 2 days to a week, maybe 10 days at the most. So for example, if you're a partner of ours that we've been working with and selling with, you probably have gotten involved with a questionnaire already. Let's say that you have an opportunity that you're planning to close with us in the next 30 days. our AE or partner account manager should have reached out to you to say, "I'd like you to go through this due diligence process because we would like to have that done prior to being able to close this opportunity." So it is, I don't want to say it's urgent, because one of the things that we've done is internally, we've taken the list of the roughly 300 resellers that we've done business with in the past 12 months, provided that to our GLS team, and we've done an initial screen. And due diligence will not hold up any deals or opportunities that we have, in the near future to close with those partners, but we still do need to go through that process. So I do, suggest that as you get involved with this process, that we do our best to move it along quickly. Now, I want to talk a little bit before we get into Q&A about partner contracts. Now, I mentioned we do have a new fiscal year that begins in December. We do have new T's and C's for our reselling partners. And during the process of the acquisition and during our due diligence process there, obviously separate from this one, in working with TIBCO, we did provide TIBCO with all of our reseller agreements. We looked through those agreements to understand if there were any that were, quote, non-assignable. There were some of those that were. And for partners where that clause may have been involved with a contract, they should have been contacted by TIBCO Legal with a note that we're doing this transaction. All of the other partner agreements have in essence been assigned to TIBCO. So we're all still operating under our existing reseller contracts. So why redo reseller terms? And quite honestly, we would like to redo our reseller terms with all of our resellers. And this also will be somewhat of a very simple process. But why redo it? Well, Scribe Software Corp, doesn't exist anymore as a legal entity. It is now part of TIBCO. And even though we're working under those contracts, there are different terms and conditions within the TIBCO terms and conditions that are used for partners that are quite different, as well as because TIBCO truly is global in the sense that it has legal, finance, or I shouldn't say it, I should say we, sorry, still getting used to that, right? That we have legal and finance groups in different geographical locations. And therefore, some of the terms are localized to better serve those international locations. Also, there's a little bit more involved with the TIBCO agreements around code of conduct and requirements for compliance with US and international standards and laws. And as well, some partners, and this is really for our partners, primarily in Europe, that work our Insight maintenance renewals. There is a master agreement form that goes along with this new partner agreements that will allow our partners who manage our Insight renewals to actually work under one master purchasing agreement and just provide us with a PO, and that's all we would need to do for the process of booking those orders. So it simplifies to some extent for partners doing maintenance renewals. Now, obviously the questions that might arise, okay, if we're being asked to redo our reseller agreements and we're going through this due diligence process, how does that change what we do today and what our partner program is today or has been up until today with Scribe? Well, for the most part, it doesn't change. For the best part of it, quite honestly, it doesn't change. The new contract documents that I just referred to, and if we go back here, there's what we call now this partner program order form, which is similar to our Scribe Online order forms, if you will. But what this order form does is it's a two-pager, excuse me, that says, I agree to the new TIBCO terms of service, which are these links that are shown here. And then incorporated into that is Exhibit A, which you can see includes our existing partner margin and discount levels. So all of that stays the same with the partner program. There's only two minor items that are changing as we go into next year around the partner program in these new documents, is that we've had for years a partner co-op program. And that's where we allotted a certain amount of funds for partners to use against their net bookings over the course of the first 6 months of the year. Quite honestly, we've had very, very, very few partners take advantage of this. And at the end of the day, for most partners, it didn't amount to a lot of dollars, but it was still some dollars. So we're discontinuing that program. I'll talk about a new TIBCO partner program that's coming up shortly that may have some additional programs attached to it that you can take advantage of similar to this. We also provided a biannual rebate for having a certain number of certified consultants. Again, this is another program that, quite honestly, we did not manage very well, and our partners did not take advantage of it as much as we would have expected. So those two pieces are no longer part of the program, but everything else that was in the program, your margin structures for Scribe Insight, your commission structures for Scribe Online, all remain the same under these new contracts, and definitely through 2019. Now, there are other features to come in the new TIBCO partner program, and this partner program is going to be announced. The plan right now is that it will be announced September 4th at TIBCO Now in Las Vegas. Hopefully some of you on the line have chosen to maybe attend that conference. It's primarily an end user conference. Scribe is still going to have our user conference that we planned for the end of October. We're focusing that more to be a partner conference. And if you haven't registered for that yet, please do, because primarily what we're going to focus on in that is directed to our partners is the additional value that this relationship with TIBCO Now can bring to you as a partner in terms of the other TIBCO products and services, which really can add great value to what you offer your customers. So hopefully, if you're not on that bandwagon yet for the end of October conference in Boston, please connect with your rep and get signed up. But for the new partner program, there will be some new features like a new partner portal in place where partners can place orders through that portal. You'll be able to take advantage of that. There's also the option now to actually work through Ingram Micro and purchase your Scribe products as well as TIBCO products through Ingram Micro. And I'm working with Jason Johns, who is at TIBCO, our Vice President of Global Channels, with Ingram on incorporating the Scribe products into their portfolio. And a couple things that would do for you. There's a lot of value add that Ingram can provide. For example, some of you as partners may already work with Ingram for other products or services. They also provide logistical assistance around marketing and services. So there's other value add, and we'll be putting forth a webinar series for those partners that may be interested in investigating a two-tier relationship with TIBCO through Ingram. And what I will say here is, it obviously means that you would be working with Ingram. You still would have your team at Scribe that you're working with, and we'd all work in concert to provide you the best support. Now, I will also mention here that through this acquisition and going through certainly into next year and beyond, your Scribe team remains your Scribe team. Your AEs, your technical support people, your technical evangelists, your partner account managers, are still in place and remain in place as being your go-to account team here at TIBCO Scribe. I've had a couple questions about that along the way, and I just wanted to throw that in there. So again, more to come on September 4th in the partner announcement. Now, what are the next steps? So the call to action here really is, if you haven't already, you might want to connect with your AE or your partner account manager and request a copy of the new partner program order form for the new terms and conditions, so that you can be reviewing those terms. We've had a number of partners already move over to the new terms and conditions. There didn't seem to be any real issues. But make sure that when you're talking to, for example, if you're in EMEA, you're talking to our EMEA team, that they're referring to the local terms and conditions there, which they should be with their order form. That will allow you to get started reviewing those terms while you're going through the due diligence process. And again, a process that should take a couple days to a week or so. Now also, once that process is complete, then we'll be able to execute that new partner program order form, which then means pretty much, okay, we're back on square one. We're all working together as contractual partners and able to easily transact all of our business. Again, we're not allowing any of this to hold us up in terms of transacting business, but we would like to just legally get everybody moved to the new paper. So with that, as I mentioned, looked like we took about 27 minutes or so to run through that information. And I will open it up for questions. And let me see if I can get the questions here. All right. Okay, there's a question here about which of the TIBCO products are most comparable to Scribe. Do their products integrate with the Dynamics products? Great question. There are two main reasons why TIBCO has acquired Scribe. Number one, because of the very, very viable cloud platform that we provide, cloud integration iPaaS platform that we provide to the marketplace. So our cloud integration, our iPaaS platform, is going to be incorporated into what is known as the TCI products, and that in itself is going to be a big part of the TIBCO offering. TIBCO does offer an on-premise integration product as well. I've not had an opportunity too much to look at that because I've been mostly involved with kind of just the transition and getting all the legal things together. We can certainly get you a much more detailed answer to that. Happy to follow up to give you kind of a comparison. We do have a nice chart that I probably can provide for you under non-disclosure, which does show the list of TIBCO products and the Scribe products and how they are absolutely complementary. In terms of the complementary products, there are products such as Spotfire, which is an analytics product, and that product is what we're getting a lot of interest from our channel. There's also a product called Mashery, which does API management, which a number of I know have been asked by many customers, do you do API management? We now have a good answer for that. We'll be putting together a series of webinars around those complementary and comparable products. But in general, it's really, and I've been very excited about this acquisition from day one because the product set really is very complementary and think can bring lots of value to our partners and customers. Okay, let me see if I can. I'm trying to get the questions box open further. Okay, had a A note here also in the question box. I do want to mention that in terms of our TIBCO Now conference in Vegas at the beginning of September, and our partner conference in Boston, we are running a special where you can attend both of those conferences for just the fee of $1,600. So if you email your account rep or your partner account manager, you can get a registration link and a discount code to do that. Okay, looking here. Question, is the Salesforce technology partnership still a priority with TIBCO? I am not sure what you might be referring to there. If you're referring to the fact that we have a Salesforce SWAT team that is dedicated to working with our Salesforce partners around the Scribe platform and product set and incorporating TIBCO, absolutely. If there is a different Salesforce technology situation, if you will, partnership, then obviously that might be a question for someone on Jason John's team. So I will check into that. But as far as our existing Scribe team and our Salesforce SWAT team, absolutely that dedicated team is still in place. Scrolling down through the questions here. Where do you get the PDD order form? Yeah, you would just reach out to your account executive or your partner account manager, and they can get that started with you right away, as well as the partner order form. Okay, going up through. Now, as the part of the one question about the product set was, are Scribe products integrated with the TIBCO products? We will be announcing some of that at TIBCO Now, but I can tell you that we do have integration sets between Scribe Online replication services and Spotfire, the analytics package. It's something that we will be setting up a webinar within the next 30 days to present to our partners. And it not only is of value when you're working with your end users for them to be able to replicate data from any data source, primarily though our data sources being with our replication services being Oracle and Dynamics CRM and Salesforce. And obviously, if you're using the platform to integrate data to those sources, then you can replicate to Spotfire. And that adds a real value to your customer for them to be able to visualize these analytics. But also, you can use the Spotfire tool incorporated with the Scribe Online platform to do analytics on the actual integrations that are running. So as a partner, it's also something that you can use when you're managing integrations to do online analytics. So we'll be announcing that webinar shortly and should be within the next 30 days. Will the slides be sent? Yes. The slides will be sent after the presentation today, as well as a link to the recording. Note here, someone mentions here that on the partner program form, that it mentions that there's a partner program fee that is waived for the first year. Actually, that partner program form, has it been updated? That should say that it's been waived for our Scribe partners. So if you, what you should do is request the updated form from your account manager or partner account manager. We do not have a program fee for our Scribe partners. Okay. I think it looks like I've gotten through most all the questions here. Just checking through one more time. We do have a lot of partners on the line. Okay, it looks like we've gotten through all of the questions. So again, we've taken up about 40 minutes of your time today. I do appreciate the fact that you've joined us for today's session. Any other questions, please feel free to reach out to your Scribe AE or partner account manager, and we'll make sure we get back to you with any questions and answers to those questions that you may have. Thanks again. Always, we appreciate your partnership. Have a good morning, good afternoon, and we'll see you on the next TIBCO Scribe session.